The next topic is swapping in your main memory management unit. Okay, in order to execute the process has to be brought into the main memory. But main memory has limited size. Okay, so it cannot store all the processes in the main memory. Is it correct? So the processes will be stored in the secondary disk or the backing store, and whenever that process is scheduled for execution, they are brought into the main memory. Is it correct? So once the execution of the process is completed, they are again removed from the main memory and brought back to the backing store. That is known as the swap out. Okay, and when the next process is scheduled for execution is brought into the main memory, it is known as the swap in. Okay, so this is done because memory has limited size and it can store only a few processes. Okay, so whenever the memory becomes free, okay, the next process which is ready for the execution is swapped in into the memory, and once it finished the execution, it is swapped out of the main memory. Take an example here in a multi-programming environment with a round-robin CPU scheduling. So you all know that in the round-robin scheduling, we use a time quantum, and based on the time quantum, the processes will execute. Okay. So once the time quantum expires, the memory manager is going to swap out the processes into the backing store. Okay, and the next process or the new process will be swapped in to the main memory from the backing store for the execution. Okay, during that time, the CPU scheduler will allocate a time slice to some other process in the memory. So as I told you, when it complete its job, you have to have a free space in the main memory, so that one by one the jobs will be brought into the main memory and they are executed. Okay, a variation of the swapping is used here, which is also called as the roll out and roll it. Okay, now this is based on the priority based scheduling. So as you all know that processes will be given some priority levels. Okay, if a higher priority process request service over here, so whichever it will check whether in the main memory any memory space is available. If it is available, then directly you can get the higher priority process into the main memory and service it by allowing it to execute. If the if in the main memory the space is not available, then it will check, the CPU will check for the low priority jobs. Okay, low priority process. So it will take the low priority process, swap out of the main memory into the backing store, and whichever higher priority job has requested the service, that will be brought into the main memory where the space is free up. So this variation is also called as the roll out and the roll in. Normally the process which is swapped out of the main memory has to be bought or swapped in to the same memory space where it had occupied previously. But it also depends on the address binding. That is two types of binding is there. Yes, load time and the run time. So if the address binding is done at the load time or the assembly time, then the process is moved to the same memory location. This happens because during the assembly time or a compile time or a load time, the where exactly the process will be loaded in the memory space will be known initially itself. So once it is swapped in back to the main memory, it will go to the same space from where it was swapped out. But if the binding was done at the runtime, okay, so that means what, already the process is executing, during the runtime, and because of some priority reason, the process is swapped out and bought into the secondary devices. So once you are going to schedule it back to the main memory, maybe the previous space is occupied by some other process, because it is happening during the runtime. So during that time, this process will occupy the memory space wherever it is free. So swapping is done between the main memory and the secondary disk. So obviously the swapping requires backing a store which should be very large, and it should be able to occupy or store large copies of the processes or the memory images of the processes. When we say memory images, it is just a copy of the process virtual memory saved in a file. Okay. Now what happens is, as you know, the system is going to maintain a ready queue consisting of all these processes. So whenever the CPU scheduler decide to execute a process, it is going to call a dispatcher. Now what is a dispatcher? Dispatcher is a module that gives control of the CPU to the process selected by the short-term scheduler. Okay, now this dispatcher is going to check whether the next process which has to be executed is in the memory. Okay, if it is present, then it can execute that particular process. If it is not present, and also if there is no memory space available over here, the dispatcher is the one who is going to swap out a process currently which is there in the memory, maybe based on the priority, or which is sitting idle. Okay, sometimes the processes might be sitting idle, so those processes will be swapped out by the dispatcher and swap in the desired processor. Okay, and also it does this keeping task like reloading the registers, transfer the control to the selected process. So the context switch time in such a swapping system is fairly high. So let us take an example to understand this. So assume that the user process is 10 MB in size and the backing store is a standard hard disk with a transfer rate of 40 MB per second. The actual transfer rate of this 10 MB process to and fro memory takes around, now you have just converted this 10 MB to kilobyte, so 10 MB becomes 10,000 kilobyte and 40 MB becomes 40,000 kilobyte per second. So this is equal to 250 millisecond. So assuming that no head seeks are necessary and assuming an average latency of 8 millisecond, the swap time is 250 plus 8 millisecond. Since we must both swap in and out, the total time swap is about 516 millisecond. That is 258 into 2 you have to do it. So for efficient CPU utilization, the execution time for each of the process should be long relative to the swap time. Okay. Now the major part of the swap time is a transfer time. So the total transfer time is directly proportional to the amount of the memory swapped. So one thing you should remember here, the process should be swapped out of the memory only when they are sitting idle and when there are no pending input and output operations. Now consider that process might be waiting for an input and output operation. When we decide to swap that process in order to free up the memory. Okay, assume that input and output operation is queued, okay, or it is waiting because the device is busy. And if we were able to swap out that process and swap in a new process, then the input and output operation might then attempt to use the memory that belongs to the new processor. So the only solution to avoid this is to either swap only totally ideally processes, or do input and output operations only into and out of the OS buffer, which are then transferred to and fro from the main memory as a second step.